welcome back to Sofa Sessions. Today we are actually not on a sofa, we're in a greenhouse.
But we're little couches.
Yeah, we're with the fabulous Ruth Crilly, aka A Model Recommends. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I feel like I'm really high up compared to you two.
I'm very comfortable and
Like in the hot seat.
Yeah, you are in the hot seat.
It's nice though, great setting, thank you.
So for those of you who don't know, Ruth has the fabulous YouTube channel and blog A Model Recommends. She also has 2 kids, Angelica and Ted. And she's got some more brilliant launches for you all coming up, which we're going to find out a little bit more about. But first,
a little bit of quick fire, just to warm you up.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Would you rather dry shampoo or sunglasses?
Oh, dry shampoo.
Duh.
Collab.
We'll discuss that one.
My first plug, I mean, it's like my first sentence.
30 seconds in?
Yeah. Great, that's a record.
Okay, what's the name of your favourite child?
That is outrageous.
We're not expecting you to answer it.
Don't worry. I was trying to think of something funny then.
Just in case you quickly were like, Ted. Okay, and what was the last text that you sent?
Oh, was it to you? Did we text each other?
To say we'll meet here?
Yeah.
15
yeah.
minutes. So we're going to talk about a few of the things that you have out and coming up soon. But it all began with the blog,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so I was a model for like well over a decade, and it got to the point where I think modeling's probably different now, isn't it? I think the whole industry's changed. But I was so sort of saturated in London where I'd done everything, and I was, doing like big campaigns and high street stuff, and it was always in magazines. And I think it gets to the point where people just get bored, and especially when you've got a look. Yeah. And so my agent said, look, you need to go to Paris or Milan or New York, and you need to start in a new market. And I just got married.
How old were you at this point?
Probably like 28, 29. And modelling had just, and I didn't want to go to a new market. I thought I'll just tide it out and see how it goes. And I just had no work. It just nosedived, and it was the recession as well. So I started making tea and coffee at an office, and I would do bits of writing in between, and I started my MA in creative writing, and I thought, you know what, I've got so many anecdotes from modelling, and I was still doing the odd job, but because I was sort of over it, when I went on jobs, I found everything really funny, and I was also really interested in the beauty aspect of it, so I would almost be going to the jobs to see what people were using and how they were using it. And I thought I'll put these two things together, the writing and the anecdotal material. And then it just took off. It was good timing, I think.
Yeah.
And no one else was really doing it from my particular angle. And then it just sort of exploded.
So the blog came first in
2010.
And then YouTube started?
Almost at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I was writing about makeup, trying to say, well, when you apply it, it looks like this, is actually not as great as just being able to being able to demonstrate it. So very soon I started doing little bits of video to go alongside the content, and then that sort of took off in its own right.
Yeah. When you had kids, were you worried about diversifying on A Model Recommends?
Well, I never really wanted to feature them at all.
Yeah.
And when I had her, I was under loads of pressure. Everyone was like, well, what's her name? We've followed this whole pregnancy. It was like I owed people. We've followed this whole pregnancy journey. So you've got to now show her. And I was like, it was terrifying because you've got this precious little bundle and you don't want to share them. But actually, as time went on, a couple of months in, I started thinking, well, this is really interesting to write about. And so I did start doing diaries and updates and sort of the odd photo. I don't think they're not really around much when you actually look at the overall content. Yeah. I mean, they're never really, I don't think they're ever speaking on anything. Yeah. I don't really show them moving. It's sort of the odd cameo. Yeah. But yeah, it's a really difficult one, isn't it? It's
to work out what the right thing is.
Constant worry. Yeah.
And then you nicely linked the world of beauty and mumhood by creating the dry shampoo.
So the dry shampoo actually launched the day after I fell pregnant with. I knew that I was pregnant with Angelica.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was a really odd time. Yeah, and I'd been trying for 6 years. We'd been trying for 6 years, and I found out, and then as I found out, I had a delivery of really, really high heels because I needed something for the launch party the next day. And I remember thinking, this is just so bizarre and I don't want to go and I feel really sort of like protective. So it was crazy, like 2 things happened at once, but a really amazing time. You know, and the dry shampoo's just gone from strength to strength, and we're all over the world now. And
Where can you buy it?
Collab dry shampoo. So you can buy it in Boots, you can buy it at Feel Unique, and then on their website, you know, there's a massive list of where you can get it worldwide. So it's every week there's a new shop and a new territory, but it's invisible, yet it works.
It's so hard to find a dry shampoo that you can't see but actually absorbs all of the grease.
Yeah.
Because either you can see them and your hair looks chalky, or they don't actually do anything.
And then you sort of think, well, I may as well just wash it.
And then, your app. This is like the big thing that we're here to talk about, the big reveal.
So when I was feeding Ted in the night, second baby around, there was that witching hour between 3 and 4 o'clock maybe. And you just think no one else in the world is awake. There was nobody else having to do what I'm doing. And I felt so alone. And also, if I can say this, sounds really bad, but resentful. I felt really resentful. I was like, okay, so everyone else is asleep. I'm knackered. I've got a massive C-section scar that's weeping everywhere. Yet I'm having to say, you know, I've just been like through massive body trauma, but it's me that's up the whole way through the night. And I just felt like this massive unfairness. And so I had this idea, and also I was always just looking at crap on the internet that was no good for my head and my mind. And I thought, wouldn't it be good if there was a dedicated feed of content that was for people who were up in the night, you know? And then I thought, ooh, the night feed. Love me a pun. And it was born from that. So the app, it's not just a feed of content. All of the sort of Q&A, experts, information, and, you know, live Q&As with midwives and paediatricians and things like that will happen in the night. And obviously you can use it 24 hours a day.
That's great. So you'll have live Q&As happening throughout the night.
So maybe like a breastfeeding expert or a midwife talking about, you know, things that happen in the Lady Garden area, which is like many and diverse. You know, anything like that. It's just to draw it in, things that will be useful, and to make you feel like there's something for you, because nothing is
You
for
feel
you.
completely ignored. Literally, it's 3 a.m, no one's on Instagram, you know, there's no new content. Daily Mail hasn't reloaded.
I used to always be on that reload.
Come on, give me something.
But it wasn't good because I used to read the comments underneath, and then I'd get into a really negative mindset. So one of the other things about the app, so there's a feed timer which tells you which boob you last fed on, or if you're bottle feeding, tells you how much they drank in the last bottle, and you can record everything. And then there are sleep sounds, which we all know are just amazing, white noise and things like that. But then there's also something that was born out of the fact that when I had my separate mum and baby blog, the Uphill, which now is part of Model Recommends, people's comments used to be better, more well written, funnier sometimes than the post itself, and then people would reply to them. And I thought it was like a forum,
A little network of people
not,
chatting.
It started from a curated piece of writing. And then people would just weigh in, which I thought was really friendly, really nice. And you'd get really good anecdotal material, and you'd get really good advice from other people, but not in a forum atmosphere, which I think can get quite bitchy. So there's a discuss tab on the app where you can, which will be quite, not strictly curated, but it's a very friendly space. So when you agree to the code of conduct for the app, it's a friendly space. You know, it's like before you comment, think to yourself, is this helpful? Is this nice? Because women are so vulnerable.
Totally.
You couldn't be more vulnerable. And I think if you asked for help and someone came in and went, wow, if you don't do that, then your baby's going to die. That is the last thing.
Of course, especially if you're reading it at 3 a.m. and you're exhausted.
So people can report other people's comments, and then
This is amazing.
it just makes it a nice space. You know, it's supposed to be a friendly space.
I think one of the worst parts of it is feeling like you're alone. I remember my grandma, who's now 93, used to say to me, so she lived in these tenement houses in Glasgow where they're all like really close together, and she'd be up feeding the baby, and she'd always pull back the curtains and she'd look around to see if there was other lights on, and she'd know that she wasn't alone and other women were up feeding their babies because they didn't have Instagram and Daily Mail and your app. So,
What do people do?
What do people do? So you touched on before that you had trouble conceiving.
Yes.
Can you give us a bit of backstory?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know what was going on really. I went through all of the tests and they were just like, well, there's nothing wrong with you.
How long did you try before you?
So I tried for 3 years and then got pregnant but had a miscarriage. And then I think it got to about a year after that, or maybe a year and a half, and I thought, I've had enough of this. I just feel like nothing's ever going to happen.
Such a long time to wait before looking into it.
Well, no, I'd looked into it before I got pregnant for the first time. And I think we were just about to go for like another round of tests, and then I found out I was pregnant. So we put all that on hold, and then once I'd had a pregnancy, I sort of thought, well, I must be able to get pregnant. So I sort of left it a bit of a long time again. And then I, sort of as a last resort, really cut down on drinking to the point where, I was like a couple of glasses a week or something like that. When I went to see John Sagaris, who's a Chinese medicine practitioner, he just said, look, I think you just need to just get your health in check. And everything just seems a bit out of balance. And I put on a little bit of weight, cut drinking right down, and went on holiday and got pregnant on holiday.
Really? So it did all happen naturally?
I remember I was lying there in a sunbed and I was like, oh my God, my nails are I've got mascara all over my finger. My nails are the longest and strongest that they've ever been. They've never been like this in my life. And I remember looking at my hair, thinking my hair's really glossy. And I just felt like the picture of health, which I'd never felt before in my adult life. And then I got home and I was pregnant.
That's amazing. So after all that, it happened naturally. And then was it then with with Ted? Was it?
So with Ted, this is too much information. Sorry, husband. But with Ted, we had sex once, and I don't even think it was properly. It's more like a wink and a nudge, and we got pregnant. Wow. I know. Amazing. And Angelica was only sort of like 10, 11 months at this point.
Was that a big panic?
I was really pleased actually, but I think he was quite panicked.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Coming and chatting with us. And good luck with the launch.
Thanks very much.
See you soon. Bye.